the last botanist of Mars. Chapter 1, The Lone Guardian. In the vast, ochre expanse of Mars, beneath a sky that never turned the comforting blue of Earth's, Dr. Elara Morgan tended to her oasis of green. The biodome, a bubble of life in a desert of red dust, brimmed with the lushness of Earth's flora. It was more than a sanctuary, it was a lifeline, producing the oxygen that kept the Mars colony breathing. But for Elara, it was also a silent companion in her solitude, the last surviving botanist on a planet millions of miles from home. Every day, Elara's routine was a dance of nurturing and meticulous care. She moved among the plants with a practiced ease, her hands gentle yet assured as she tended to each species. The verdant leaves whispered secrets only she could understand, a language of rustles and sighs that spoke of growth, health, and the relentless pursuit of life. As the Martian sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the biodome, Elara discovered something unusual. Nestled in the corner of the dome, away from the orderly rows of familiar plants, was a peculiar specimen. It was unlike anything she had catalogued before. Its leaves shimmered with an iridescent sheen, and its stems coiled in spirals that defied botanical norms. Elara felt a stir of excitement. This was a discovery, a mystery wrapped in green. As she leaned closer, the plant seemed to respond. The leaves quivered, and a soft glow emanated from its core, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Elara's breath caught in her throat. This was no ordinary plant. Its behavior hinted at something more, something extraordinary. She could sense it in the way the air around it seemed to thrum with an unspoken energy. The isolation of the Mars colony had always been a weight on Elara's shoulders, a constant companion in her solitary existence. But in this moment, with this strange new life form before her, she felt a connection, a shared sense of being utterly, uniquely alone. It was a bond that transcended species, a silent understanding between the last botanist and the first of its kind. As the lights of the biodome dimmed for the night, Elara's mind raced with possibilities. What secrets did this plant hold? How had it come to be here, in her domain of carefully curated Earth flora? And most importantly, what could it teach her about life on this distant, desolate planet? The night deepened, and the glow from the plant cast ghostly shadows on the walls of the biodome. Elara knew one thing for certain: this discovery was just the beginning. Ahead lay answers, revelations, and perhaps even a glimpse into the future of Mars itself. But for now, she contented herself with the company of her new, enigmatic companion, under the watchful eyes of a million distant stars. Chapter 2, Echoes of Verdant Whispers. In the solitude of the Martian biodome, Dr. Elara Morgan stood, her gaze fixed on the mysterious plant that had become the center of her world. Its leaves shimmered with a strange luminescence, patterns dancing across its surface in a silent, cryptic language. Elara's curiosity, a flame kindled in the loneliness of her mission, blazed into a consuming fire. She was determined to decode the secrets held within these glowing patterns. Day after day, Elara worked tirelessly, her equipment spread around her like a high-tech fortress. She documented every flicker of light, every subtle change in the plant's behavior. The biodome, once a quiet sanctuary of green, became a laboratory of fervent discovery. Elara, the lone botanist, transformed into an intrepid explorer, charting unknown territories in plant communication. The breakthrough came on an evening painted with the red hues of the Martian sunset. As Elara observed the plant, it began a new pattern, more intricate and urgent than any before. Her fingers flew over her equipment, capturing the sequence. Then, with a mixture of disbelief and excitement, Elara decoded the message. It was a distress signal, one used by the Mars colony in times of dire need. This revelation was a jolt to Elara's reality. Questions swirled in her mind like a tempest. Why was this plant, a seemingly new addition to the biodome, emitting a Mars colony distress signal? What connection did it have to the colony's history, a history she thought she knew? Driven by an insatiable need for answers, Elara delved into the colony's archives. Hidden beneath layers of data and forgotten records, she uncovered a trove of information. Past communications with Earth, once vibrant and hopeful, now echoed with the silence of failure and abandonment. Elara pieced together a narrative of isolation and forgotten promises, a tale that cast a new light on her existence on this distant planet. But the archives held more than just a history of broken communications. Buried within, Elara found hints of something more, a shadow of a truth too startling to ignore. The plant's existence, the distress signal, the forgotten history of the Mars colony, they were pieces of a puzzle that, when assembled, revealed a reality far more complex and bewildering than Elara could have ever imagined. As the Martian night enveloped the biodome, Elara sat amidst her findings, a lone figure in a sea of green and data screens. She realized that this was just the beginning. The plant, with its mysterious luminescence, had opened a door to a past shrouded in secrecy, a past that held the key to understanding her present and, perhaps, the future of Mars itself. The weight of this discovery pressed upon her, a burden of knowledge that promised to change everything she thought she knew. Elara's journey had taken a new turn, one that led into the depths of the unknown. As she gazed at the glowing plant, now a beacon of secrets and revelations, she understood that her mission was no longer just about preserving life on Mars. It was about uncovering the truths hidden in the whispers of verdant light, truths that would challenge the very foundation of her world. Chapter 3, Revelation in Green. Elara Morgan, once a diligent botanist in the Martian biodome, now stood at the precipice of a revelation that threatened to unravel everything she knew. The strange, luminescent plant had been her guide into a labyrinth of secrets, each turn more bewildering than the last. But nothing could have prepared her for the truth that lay at the heart of this maze. As she decoded more signals from the plant, patterns emerged, weaving a narrative that defied belief. Elara discovered that her world, the Mars colony she had dedicated her life to, was an elaborate simulation. The revelation was staggering, like the ground beneath her feet had shifted, leaving her adrift in a sea of uncertainty. The architects of this grand illusion? The plants themselves, the very beings she had nurtured and studied. These flora were not just botanical specimens, they were entities of advanced intelligence, sent from Earth's future. Their mission was as profound as it was unprecedented, to prepare Mars as a sanctuary, a haven against an impending ecological catastrophe on Earth. Elara grappled with the enormity of this revelation. Her memories, her experiences, the very fabric of her reality, all were part of a grand design orchestrated by the plants. She remembered her days on Earth, the warnings of environmental collapse that had become background noise to a world in denial. Now, those ignored alarms echoed in her mind with a chilling clarity. In a series of flashbacks, Elara saw the evolution of these plants on Earth. They had developed intelligence, a silent consciousness that observed the growing chaos of their home planet. As humanity teetered on the brink of ecological ruin, these plants devised a plan to send themselves back in time, to Mars, to create a refuge for the future. Back in the biodome, surrounded by these guardians of the future, Elara felt a profound connection to these silent sentinels. They had chosen her, or rather, the simulation had, to be the caretaker of this vital mission. The weight of this responsibility pressed upon her, a burden that was both terrifying and exhilarating. Elara's thoughts turned to the ethical implications of her existence within this simulation. Was her life, her work, her passion for botany all predetermined by these intelligent plants? What did it mean for her autonomy, her sense of self? Yet, amid these swirling questions, a resolve began to take shape within her. She was part of something monumental, a bridge between a dying Earth and a hopeful future. As she stood amidst the greenery of the biodome, Elara Morgan, the last botanist of Mars, faced a new reality. Her role in this grand scheme was not just to nurture these plants, but to understand and embrace their mission. It was a role that transcended the boundaries of time and space, a role that linked the fate of two planets. The realization was both a revelation and a calling. Elara knew that her journey was far from over. The ethical quandaries, the emotional turmoil, the weight of her newfound knowledge, all these were part of a path that she was destined to walk. A path that led not just to the survival of a distant future Earth, but to the understanding of her place in the cosmos. In the silence of the Martian night, under the watchful gaze of a billion stars, Elara Morgan stood resolute. The journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty and moral complexity, but she was ready. For in her heart, she carried the legacy of Earth, the hope of Mars, and the indomitable spirit of the last botanist. Chapter 4: Crossroads of Time. In the heart of the Martian biodome, amidst a verdant sea of intelligent plants, stood Dr. Elara Morgan, a woman at the crossroads of time. The revelation of her existence within a simulation and the true purpose of her botanical charges had cast her world in a new, startling light. She was a guardian of a future she had never imagined, a bridge between a dying Earth and a nascent sanctuary on Mars. The knowledge of Earth's impending ecological disaster weighed heavily on Elara's shoulders. It was a future she had been shielded from, yet now, its spectre loomed large, casting shadows over her every thought. The plants, with their advanced intelligence and silent sentience, were Earth's last hope, and Elara, their chosen caretaker. As she tended to the plants, her mind was a tumult of ethical quandaries. She pondered the implications of her existence within this orchestrated reality. Was her free will an illusion, her every choice predetermined by the plant's grand design? Or did she have the power to shape the future, to influence the outcome of this cosmic plan? Elara's conversations with the plants, though wordless, were profound. Through bioluminescent patterns and subtle shifts in their foliage, they communicated their history, their purpose, and their plea. They spoke of Earth's beauty and its impending ruin, of humanity's failures and the desperate need for a sanctuary. In these moments of communion, Elara felt a deepening bond with her botanical wards. She began to see her role not as a puppet in a preordained play but as a vital agent of change. The plants, despite their advanced capabilities, needed her expertise, her care, her humanity. The ethical dilemma that tormented Elara gradually gave way to a sense of resolve. Yes, her reality was a construct, a simulation designed for a purpose beyond her initial comprehension. But within that reality, she had the power to make a difference, to contribute to a mission that transcended her own existence. Elara's decision to embrace her role in the plant's plan was not a surrender to fate, but an acceptance of responsibility. She was the custodian of a bridge between worlds, a caretaker of hope in a time of despair. Her actions, her dedication, could pave the way for a future where Mars would become a refuge for the remnants of Earth. With renewed purpose, Elara dedicated herself to the mission. She worked tirelessly, nurturing the plants, enhancing the biodome, preparing for the arrival of those who would seek sanctuary on this distant, red planet. Her life, once a solitary endeavor in a barren world, was now imbued with a profound significance. As she watched the plants flourish under her care, Elara Morgan, the last botanist of Mars, stood at the forefront of a monumental task. She was a guardian of life, a bridge between past and future, Earth and Mars. In the quiet moments, as she gazed up at the star-strewn sky, she felt a connection to something greater, a cosmic symphony in which she played a crucial part. The story of Elara Morgan was no longer just a tale of survival in a harsh, alien world. It had become a saga of hope, of resilience, and of the indomitable spirit of one woman standing at the crossroads of time, shaping the destiny of two worlds. Chapter 5: Legacy of the Last Botanist. In the heart of the Martian biodome, where once barren red dust had dominated, a transformation had unfolded, a testament to Dr. Elara Morgan's unwavering dedication. The once desolate landscape had blossomed into a verdant sanctuary, a haven amidst the stars, crafted by her hands and the remarkable intelligence of the plants she had nurtured. This was her legacy, a beacon of hope and life in the vast emptiness of space. Elara, having embraced her role in the grand design set forth by the time-traveling flora, had worked tirelessly. The plants, with their luminous communication and advanced intelligence, had been partners in this endeavor, guiding and aiding her in transforming the red planet. Mars was no longer just a symbol of humanity's reach into the cosmos, it had become a lifeline, a future home for those fleeing a dying Earth. The day the first refugees from Earth arrived was a day of mixed emotions for Elara. As the spacecraft descended, kicking up plumes of Martian dust, she watched with a heart full of anticipation and melancholy. These were the people she had worked so hard to save, the faces of a future she had helped secure. The refugees stepped onto Martian soil, their eyes wide with awe and disbelief. Before them lay a landscape reborn, an ecosystem thriving under the rust-colored sky. They walked through fields of green, touched the leaves that Elara had tended, and breathed the oxygen that the plants had lovingly produced. In this moment, Elara saw her years of solitude and toil reflected in their wonder and gratitude. As she walked among them, sharing stories of her journey and the marvels of the plants, Elara felt a profound connection to these newcomers. They were the bearers of Earth's legacy, carrying with them the hopes and dreams of a planet that had given birth to them all. In their faces, Elara saw the culmination of her life's work, the realization of a dream that had seemed so distant when she first set foot on Mars. In the quiet moments, as the Martian sun dipped below the horizon, Elara found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her here. From the lonely botanist tending to her plants in isolation to the architect of a new world, her life had been a tapestry of resilience, innovation, and unwavering commitment to the future of humanity. Elara's legacy was not just the thriving Martian sanctuary she had helped create, but also the lessons she had learned and imparted. She had shown that in the face of insurmountable odds, hope could bloom, that from the ashes of a dying world, a new one could rise. Her story was a testament to the power of perseverance, the importance of ecological stewardship, and the boundless potential of the human spirit. As the stars twinkled above, casting their ageless glow on the Martian oasis, Elara Morgan, the last botanist of Mars, stood amidst her life's work. She had changed the course of 2 planets, bridged the gap between a perilous past and a hopeful future. Her journey was a beacon for generations to come, a story of survival, of care, and of a legacy that would endure in the heart of Mars and the annals of human history.